Hello friends, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be doing my December wrap-ups. So I'm going to be speaking about all the books that I read in December. Before I get started, I do have a bandage on my forehead because I accidentally got hit in the head. I'm going to tell the story real quick because I know people are going to ask. People have always asked when they see me like, oh my god, what happened to you? And my fiance and my father were outside building a metal roof, and I was outside for 5 minutes. But I am 100% accident prone. Like, I get into everything, and I accidentally walked into the metal siding of the roof. So that is what I'm dealing with now. Hopefully it's not too distracting. I did bandage it up just to keep it from getting dirty and to not have like something that icky throughout this whole video. So hopefully you guys can look past that and enjoy the video. Thank you so much for watching, and just comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of all these books I'm about to mention. But here's to my December wrap up. For today's look, I'm going to be using Lunar Beauty's Eternal Eclipse palette. So first I'm going to go in with these two colors and just put it all over my crease. I'm just using this to do some heatless curls in my hair. I don't feel like using heat in my hair today. One of the books I read in December is In 5 Years. Next I'm going to go in with this NARS black pencil and just do a line. Do like a line on top of my lash line. So the book In 5 Years is about Danny and her best friend Bella. Danny is like a numbers person, so she kind of has her life planned out, like for every year, like she wants to get engaged at a certain time. Currently, Danny is in a long-term relationship, and I believe she goes to sleep one day, and when she wakes up, she's not in her apartment and she's not with her boyfriend. She's in a random apartment with a random guy that she has no idea how she got there, and she realizes that she's 5 years into the future. So she's kind of freaking out, and the guy is like telling her to calm down. He obviously knows her. He's speaking to her like he knows her, and she gets his name. I forgot his name because it's actually a really terrible book. She ends up going back to sleep, and when she wakes up this time, she's back in the present with her boyfriend, and I feel like she has like lost her mind, like literally knew that she wasn't dreaming because it felt like too real to be a dream, but at the same time she has no idea who this guy is or what's gonna happen. Danny has a best friend named Bella. Danny's best friend starts to date a guy, and this guy, when Danny eventually meets him, ends up being the guy from the future that she saw at that apartment. The beginning of the book is super interesting because you're like, holy shit, like who is that guy? Like, does she end up with her best friend's guy? Like, that would be completely messed up. Like, how does that even happen? Like, you just have so many questions. But like, as the story develops, so unrealistic, you're just getting frustrated because like the whole main plot from the beginning like changes, and the ending is so stupid. I just did not enjoy this book, and I really wanted to read it because, you know, it gave you like holiday vibes, and the cover is super cute, and I saw like good reviews about this book, but probably one of my top 3 worst reads ever was this book. Now with like a smudger brush, I'm just going in with this burgundy color and just trying to smudge out that lash line that I put down. So just to wrap up my final thoughts about this book, I gave it a 2-star only because the friendship was phenomenal. Like, I love the best friends relationship. I thought it was so realistic, like sisters, something I would do for my best friend. Absolutely believable. From that book, I'm going to go into the next book, which is One Day in December, and mine looks a little beat up because I did buy this used. It was so much cheaper, so definitely not opposed to buying used books. But this book, I felt like did everything kind of that In 5 Year vibes was trying to give off, but this was way better. I'm just trying to look up my rating for this book. Okay. Now I remember. Okay, I don't know why, but I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this book. Let me pull up these tapes. And then I'm just going to take like the back side and pick up that fallout that I have all over my face. So like I was saying, I did not think I would like this book as much as I did, and I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad I read it during this holiday season. So this book is about Lori, and Lori is on a bus one day headed home for the holidays, and she locks eyes using some face oil, rubbing that all around my face since I feel a little dry. So from the bus on her way home to her parents' house for the holidays, she locks eyes with a complete stranger, and instantly she feels a connection to him. Like, she wants to run off the bus, meet him, but the bus is so crowded that she can't get anywhere, and he actually feels the same connection because he starts walking towards the bus, towards her, but unfortunately the bus pulls away and they are unable to meet each other. I'm gonna go in with my favorite e.l.f. Jelly Pop primer. So Lori spends literally the next year with her best friend searching for this bus guy, and now her best friend just going off a description that Lori gave her about this bus guy, so she has no idea who this guy is. And like I said, she spent a whole year looking for him. Next, I'm gonna go in with Tarte Smoothing Primer in Timeless, and I'm just placing this in the center of my T-zone. After a year of trying to find him, she is unsuccessful. Currently, Sarah and her live together. That's her best friend. And Sarah has become like a sister to her, especially since Lori has lost her sister, unfortunately. So while Lori is still out looking for the guy from the bus a year later, Sarah starts dating this new guy, and she's super excited. She's like, Lori, can't wait for you to meet him. You're going to absolutely love him. And I'm going to go in with NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation in the color Stromboli. I believe Sarah and Lori, they're either throwing a Christmas party or New Year's Eve party. It's a party around that time of year, and Sarah's like, I'm gonna totally invite him, you're totally gonna meet him, and I can't wait for you guys to become besties just like you and me are besties. So Lori is genuinely excited to meet her best friend's new guy. Her best friend keeps going on about how much she loves this guy, like she thinks he's the one. So when Lori finally meets him, she instantly recognized him, like, oh shit, this is the guy from the bus. Now in that moment, Lori is 100% confused on how to move forward with the situation. Like, does she tell her best friend that this is the guy on the bus, or does she play along like she has no idea who this man is? I mean, she genuinely doesn't know who he is, but does she play along like this isn't, you know, the man that she's destined for, and just be supportive of her best friend? So absolutely love this story. Like, yes, it is like messed up situation, but neither her nor her best friend like purposely made the situation and put themselves in it, and it's just like such a crazy situation to be in. Like, I think, like, damn it, that was me. Like, I don't know, like, let me know what you guys would do down below. Like, would you definitely tell your best friend, or would you just like suck it up and just not say anything and just let her live her best life? Because Lori tries. Lori in the book, and I'm a hopeless romantic, so I believe like when you find your one, like that's your one. So like I understood like Lori's dilemma all the time, like when she really wanted to be true and good to her best friend, and she was like fighting it so much, like, which is like why I don't see like Lori as a villain. Like, I don't see her as a bad person. Alright, so the next book I read was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I know Penelope Douglas is hyped up on social media. Like, that's why I heard of her and decided to pick up 2 of her books so far. Like, I've read Credence and I've read Birthday Girl, but I do not think I'm gonna read any more Penelope Douglas because I don't have like a lot of I like to think like I'm pretty I don't even know how to word this. Like, I like to think like I'm pretty open-minded. Like there's not a lot that I won't read about. Like, I read My Dark Vanessa and like I was totally okay. I thought that was a good book. Like, there's a lot of topics that I would read about that don't bother me, but I just don't know why when it comes to like familial relationships, like in Credence, it's a step niece and her step uncle. Like, I think like that was just like too much for me. And then this one is like, oh sorry, by the way, I'm going in with my Revolution foundation stick in the color F13, and I'm just contouring with that. Like, in this story, it's about, and again, age gaps don't bother me either, but when it's like the girl's boyfriend's father, then I have an issue. Like, could have went for anybody else. Like, why your boyfriend's father? So I feel like this will be my last Penelope Douglas book that I read, but this is about Pike and Jordan, and Jordan and Pike meet on Jordan's birthday when she's in a movie theater waiting for Pike to pick her up from work, and he's late as usual. He doesn't treat Jordan right, and as they're exiting the movie theater and her boyfriend finally comes to pick her up, she answers her phone, you know, saying his name, and the father is like, oh, is that so and so? And she's like, yeah, that is. And he's like, oh, I'm his father. And you know, from then on the story continues. Like, they end up moving in with him because they have financial issues, so the dad is there helping them out. And as they start living with the father, he starts seeing that his son doesn't treat Jordan right, and she's a good girl, and you know, he kind of feels for her in the situation, like she's trying and his son isn't. And as they continue to stay there living with Pike, you obviously see the relationship between Jordan and Pike evolve, and kind of the relationship between Jordan and her boyfriend fall apart. Now, I think I rated it like a 3 or 2 out of 5. Like I said, it's a good story. Like, I finished it. I didn't hate it. It's just the relationships between the characters that just like I couldn't look past. The next book I read in December was Beneath a Starless Sky, and this is a World War II novel. I'm gonna go in with my Milani Supercharged in the color peach under my eyes to help brighten. Now, I am someone, I love historical fiction. I love reading even just about historical events and watching documentaries. Now, for this book, I feel like you don't really need to have an interest in that. Like, if you just like fiction and like a subplot of romance, you would still enjoy this book. Like, it's not Nazi heavy, war heavy. So this book follows this dancer. Her name is Lily Steinberg, and she's a ballerina at a dance company. Her family is Jewish, but she is ridiculously talented as a ballerina. Now, the story starts right before Nazi Germany. Like, it's kind of building traction, and you can see the progression of Jewish people being discriminated, but it's not 100% there yet. So Lily comes from a humble family. Her dad owned a tailor shop, which actually the book starts off with it getting burnt down, and they know they're not going to get any justice for it because they are Jewish, and at this point there's a lot of hate towards Jewish people building up in that community. So Lily is just attending her dance school and trying to, you know, get recognized by a dance company that will help her situation and help her get out of her neighborhood and just living a better life. I'm just using this really old Patrick Star MAC powder. I might end up throwing it away. I'm just trying to use it up. I'm trying not to be wasteful. Alright, so my camera had died, so I just finished blending out that concealer under my eyes and then setting it with that MAC powder. So now I'm going to go in with this Dior Backstage face and body powder and just put it all over my face to set that foundation. So like I was saying, Lily's dance company puts on a ballet recital and everyone in the city comes. And she gets chosen as the prima ballerina, which is kind of like the main star of the ballet because she is the best dancer in her company. As she's performing, she gets noticed by this German soldier. His name is Marco. Now, he's not originally from Germany. His parents migrated there. He is from Italy, so he is also aware of the changes that are happening in Germany around him, and he knows that he has to be careful because he is not German bred, so at any point can be seen as an outcast. Next, I'm going to go in with Hoola Caramel. Now, there is a sponsor to that ballet company. He gives them a lot of money. He's very important, and his daughter is also part of the ballet company, and she is hosting a birthday party which she invites Lily to. And at the ballet recital, Marco really wants to meet Lily, but he doesn't want to seem too eager. He slowly tries to migrate his way over to meet her, but gets stuck talking to that sponsor's daughter, and she ends up inviting him to her birthday party as well. So he misses his opportunity to meet Lily at the ballet recital. He has no idea that she's gonna be at this birthday party, but he decides to go anyways because this is his boss's daughter and he does want to make a really good impression. So he ends up going, and to his luck, Lily is there as well, and they meet formally. Now, they have an instant connection, which they have to keep pretty hush-hush, but they end up falling in love, and he ends up meeting Lily's family. And at first, they are unaccepting of him because he is not a Jew, but then they warm up to him, and after the dinner of them meeting him, they actually tell Lily she's not allowed to see him ever again because he's not a Jew, and they do not want her with someone who's not Jewish. So she goes against her parents' wishes and she continues to date him anyways. So Marco has to go away for a while because he has to do a training, and he says, don't worry, like, I'll write letters, and once I get back, like, we're gonna get married. I want to marry you. So Lily is ecstatic. This is everything she's wanted. She's throwing away her dancing career for this guy. That's how much she loves him. And now I'm gonna go in with this Physicians Formula Baked Bronzer. But as he's away in training, she gets a letter. She doesn't get a letter, I lied. She gets a telegram from Marco saying that because she's Jewish, he wants nothing to do with her, and he's sorry, but they have to, well, they'll have to cut off their relationship. She's devastated by this news. She is so hurt. She actually waits a while, like a couple months, to see if he will write to her and maybe like change his mind. Maybe it was a mistake, but she never hears from him again. So with that, her broken heart, she gets an offer to work in the States, United States, as a dancer, and she takes that offer because now she wants to get as far away from Germany as possible with her broken heart. And that's where her story really begins, and it is such a good story. There's a little bit of dual timelines. It'll start in the very, very future, and then it'll go to the past. I recommend this book 100%. I don't want to like go any more in depth into the book in case you guys want to read it, because a lot more does happen. Like, that literally just touches like maybe the first handful of chapters. Like, this book has so much details in it, and it's so amazingly good that I recommend it. I think I gave it, did I give this a 5-star? Oh yes. I gave this book a 5-star. That's how good it is. Now the next two books I'm going to speak about is the last two books in the off-campus series, which I'm so excited to finally finish this series, is The Goal and The Legacy. The Legacy I literally finished last night. The Goal is the fourth book in the off-campus series, and this one is about Tucker and Sabrina. So you meet Sabrina in the second book, 100%. I believe you meet her in the second book, and then you hear more about her in the third book, and then you really get to know her in the fourth book. So from the first book, you learn about Tucker, and you learn that he's like the mom of the guys, and he's the caring one and the responsible one. And for this fourth book, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It is a continuation. It's really cool because in this book, you actually, like, from the third book, time gaps get filled in, because in the third book, like, it's like, oh, they're always like, where's Tucker, and then this time gap actually gets filled in, and you find out where Tucker was the whole time. I recommend reading this series in order, because then, like, you're not gonna understand. In every next book, they always reference the new guy, the last guy's new girlfriend. I'm not gonna give any spoilers. Like, I'm not gonna speak about anything that's not spoken about already in the back of the book. And they end up hooking up. I'm not gonna tell you how they end up hooking up, because okay, so if you read the previous 3 books, like, you know that Dean and Sabrina kind of have a history. Like, they kind of hate each other, and Tuck is one of Dean's best friends. This is a pregnancy trope, which I don't mind. Like, it's not my favorite, but I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. And I always hate, like, I mean, and I guess maybe because this is like the only symptom that you could read in the book that'll be like, oh, pregnant. Like, I hate that they like always give the girl a stomachache and make her throw up. I absolutely love Tucker. He is the sweetest one out of all the guys. Like, he never pressures Sabrina for anything. He goes 100% at her pace. He is 100% down for whatever she decides. Like, he is so supportive. He is so sweet. And to be honest, she is not my favorite female heroine. I get it. She's strong. She's had to work her whole life for a lot of things that she wants and that she has. Like, nothing has ever came easy to her, but at the same time, I felt like she was just way too Miss Independent, Miss Stubborn, like a point where it was like aggravating. It's like, oh my god, he's being so compromising, he's being so patient, and you still just like a bitch to him. So annoying. I'm gonna go in with Jaclyn's Hill Loverboy from her Rouge collection. Lastly, not lastly like my books, but lastly in the series, I read The Legacy. And this book was okay. Like, I kind of flew through it just because like I wanted to get it over with. But it was just like a 3 years later of where they're at now. And of course, I'm not going to ruin that for you. Like, you can read that and find out who's together, who's where, or what happened where, with what. But yeah, it's just literally like a longer epilogue, and it was okay. I could have done without this. I'm just gonna go with those colors that were in my crease. I'm gonna put them in my lower lash line. Second to last book that I read was How to Walk Away, and this I got from Book of the Month. Well, I'm not able to get that in frame. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. This book is about Margaret, and Margaret kind of almost has her life together. I believe she just graduated college or is graduating college in finance. So she is on top of the world, and her fiance, oh I'm sorry, her boyfriend at the time is going to propose to her. So she has always had this fear of flying, and her fiance is training to be a pilot. He wants to propose to her and he wants to take her out on like a private ride. Okay, so this book, I am gonna give some spoilers. Unfortunately, if you don't want to hear it, like, you can just skip forward. I'm just going in real quick with this Tarte Maracuja Miracle Mist. So because of Margaret's fear of flying, she really doesn't want to get in this plane with her boyfriend at the time, and he's like, come on, like, I'm trained, don't you not trust me? You're gonna ruin the surprise. And you know what, I hate that. Like, don't pressure me to do something I don't want to do. Like, I hate that shit so much. She does not want to do this. Like, she is deathly afraid and does not want to do it, but she doesn't want to ruin the moment, so she gives in and gets in the plane and goes anyways. So he wrote on like a sand on, like, I think her, like, somebody in her family's lake house, asking her to marry him, and she couldn't even read it. She was like, oh, what does it say? And he's like, it's saying, will you marry me? And she's like, you know, she's like, oh, of course, yes, like, I'll marry you, whatever. So they're happy, and then they're headed back to the airport so they can go out to dinner to celebrate their engagement. And I'm going with a little bit more blush because I'm a blush whore, in California by benefit. So as they're going back towards the landing for the airplane, they hit some like heavy winds and he loses control, and then they accidentally crash. So in this crash, Chip, that's the boyfriend's name, he leaves unscarred. Like, he leaves perfectly fine. When they crash, he's able to get out the plane and she's stuck there. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna leave and go get help, and she's like, no, don't leave me alone. But he leaves anyway, and then this plane starts to catch on fire, and luckily, like, the fire department come in time and they're able to help her out and save her and rush her to a hospital. So in this hospital, she wakes up and her new fiance is nowhere to be found. Nobody knows where he is. And she like keeps waking up, like asking like, oh, where is Chip? Like, where is he? And everyone's just like making excuses for him, like why he's not there. I'm gonna do my inner corner real quick. Do it on camera because I did get a comment in my last video, thank you so much, asking if I can show how I do my inner corner. And I am known for like a bright inner corner. Like, regardless if I'm wearing a natural look, like, I'm gonna go ham on the inner corner of my eyes because I just like that sparkly, like, I feel like it really brightens up in there. I'm just gonna take a small brush, I'm just gonna wet it with a couple sprays, get it nice and soaked. I'm gonna match it with my highlighter that I'm wearing today, so I'm gonna go in with that Ofra mini highlighter in Rodeo Drive. That's the highlighter I'm wearing, and I'm just gonna work this brush in there until I get a really good amount of product. I might even wet the brush a little bit more. That's how I get it really intense, is the more wet the brush is. And then I'm just going to place that and work that in that inner corner. I'm gonna drag it down, like you see I drag it down here a little bit and on top of the lid, and just try to blend it all by just tapping lightly together. Oh, I love it. And then whatever I have left over, I'll just tap on my nose really lightly, go over on my finger, and then the bridge as well. And then that's how I do my super bright inner corner. I really just want to focus it right in here and just tap it out towards the lid and towards the bottom. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So while Margaret is in the hospital, she learns the extent of her injuries. She needs to get a graft on her neck because of all the burning, and she finds out through her asshole fiance, who eventually wants to show up 3 days later after she's been in the hospital, that she is paralyzed from, they're not sure from like at this point what point yet, but from the waist down so far they believe that she might be paralyzed. So she starts going to occupational therapy and physical therapy to help her. Now the physical therapist she gets paired with, he is not a happy guy. He is Mr. Grumpy Grumpster. The nurses, like, because of everything tragic that happened to her, they do not want this guy paired up with her. Like, they feel like she needs positive energy and this guy is not it, but there's no one else available, so he needs to do it. He is not like understanding or nice to her at all. He'll literally put her wheelchair there and say, get on yourself, and he's like, the only way you're gonna learn is if you do it yourself. So he's no joke grumpy sunshine. Going in with dose of colors, Truffle. I also really like this book because it focuses on her family dynamic. Like, she's had a falling out with her sister, and her sister's had a falling out with their mom, and they all come together to work together to help Margaret in this time of everything like she's going through. And then I love it because, like, there's a part in this book, like, the physical therapist, like, he's literally like grumpy grumpster, like, I hate everyone. Like, he literally says it to her. He's like, I hate everyone but you. Now, I didn't give it a 5-star because I felt like at some parts it did drag, like stuff could have been cut out, could have been way shorter. But I did tag this one part in the book that I absolutely loved, this quote, and it was so good. When you don't know what to do for yourself, do something for somebody else. And I thought that was such a powerful quote. Like, that is such a good quote to live by. And with my Huda Beauty lip contour in the color Warm Brown. Last book that I read for the month of December, I have it here in my phone. This book is Dipped in Holly. Now, I am such a mood reader. Like, I was so looking forward to this book. Like, I even told my best friend, like, oh, you need to get this book. Like, we need to buddy read this book. And I knew going in, like, it was a holiday smutty read. But for the month of December, I have no idea why I was just not in a smutty book read mood. This literally, it is what it is. Like, it's just straight a holiday smutty read, which it was good. It was creative. They used Christmas lights. Like, who thought, right? But just for me, I just wasn't in the mood. So I'm not gonna take away from the story. Like, I still give it a 4-star because it was good. It's just like my mood, I wasn't mentally there for a smutty read. If I was, this book would have been it. Like, it would have been up there, 5 stars. I'm just gonna remove my hair out of this and I'll be right back. So that's it for my December wrap up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this makeup tutorial, and hopefully you guys read some of these books and let me know down below what you guys thought about these books. If you plan on reading them in the future, if you got around to reading any of them, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time.